Okay, so today we're going to do a quick video on scoring mistakes, and I'm going to set up a quick game, and we'll go over a lot of things that I see that are common in double-digit Q games that happen during or prior to the scoring phase, which are mistakes. So first of all, let's get set up. All right, guys. So this is our setup, and in this situation, both players pass the game. How do you count the territory of this game? So advanced players would immediately be a little bit confused. What do you mean count the territory? There's so much more to experience on this board. And beginner players might say, well, this looks like a black territory, these look like black territories, this looks like black territory. These stones maybe look dead, or maybe to you they look alive, that's fine. This looks like a white territory, and this looks like a white territory. Looks like black is winning. And while it's true I think that black is winning, there's a lot of situations here that are completely unresolved. So the important thing at the end of the game is that you must fill all of the neutral space, and you must fill all of the borders all the way to the edge, and you must fix any interesting problems in your shape that would lead to a capture. So I want to show that last one first, because it's going to be important. If white plays here, it's Atari. And you might say, but we said that was a black territory, right? There's no rule that during the game you can't play in your opponent's territory. There's nothing like that in the books, and that would make the game a little bit nonsensical. I claim this is my territory, you just can't play there anymore. This stone can be captured. And it's actually what we call a ko to resolve the situation. So black must capture, and then white must play another move somewhere else. For instance, here would be good. And then if black wants to end the ko, black has to take the time to close the space. Otherwise, after one move, white can capture back. White is not allowed to capture back using two moves in a row because if we roll back the game, white cuts, black takes, white takes, black takes, white takes. This is just an infinite repetition. So repeating the exact board state, one move right after it happened, is generally not allowed. And this is one of the only shapes, this ko shape, that this happens. So you don't have to memorize a whole bunch of infinite loops, just the one. Okay, and so black takes. White can spend one move to advance the position. When black blocks, white can take back. And now black has to find a move to advance the position. In this case, this one is okay, because now it gives black a little bit of time to chase, and white can Atari. But the point is that if white wins this ko, white will be able to break this entire area, and white would win that game. That would be a one game for white. It greatly affects the territory. Black will not get these points, these points, these points, or anywhere where the stone is, and white would get stones as captures and more territory for themselves. It's very dangerous. So this was completely unresolved and left on the board. And so players would have found this had they potentially filled out the neutral points, or had they been looking for Atari at the end of the game. Atari just means removing almost all of the liberties except for one from any group of stones. Okay, so let's set that back up, and let's talk about the other moves on the board. Well, since we said players must fill all the neutral points, black should fill here eventually, right? However, there's a problem. These four stones, how many liberties do they have? It's actually just one. And so now, white could capture the stones. That's not good. So, this is important. Black would rather pass the turn than to play here. However, eventually white will get to play the same Atari for free, finishing the shape. And then over here, black can play down. This grants this point of territory to black. These stones will die and be taken off. So this is all a black territory. But if white plays here, white reduces 1 point. So this point that black had is now filled with black stone, and black simply doesn't get it. So the territories here are what we call unfinished, and this happened because players didn't play all the way down to the border. You must always finish your groups all the way down to the border, otherwise the opponent can always reduce. And this is true in the middle of the board as well. So for instance, if there's a hole in the territory here, white could reduce by 1 point. And so this goes into filling all of the neutral points. You should always fill all of the neutral points, and if black had thought about filling neutral points, they might have spotted that they could gain an additional point of territory by playing there. Okay, let's fill out the rest of the game, and what I'll do is I'll have black connect the ko, white play here, black can play here, white play here. These neutral points have no effect on the final score, but it's still important to fill them because other gameplay actions can arise after you fill the neutral points. And so just to give another example of that, after all the neutral points are filled, there's actually a secret ko hiding in the corner here. When black plays this nose-touching move, white cannot Atari from this side. These stones are not connected to their friends, and so black can take them by playing here. So white will do something else. White will play this Atari in the corner. But how many liberties does this new white stone have? Well, by my count, it's just 1. And so black can take. And now the whole white group is in Atari, and white needs to find a ko thread. There's nothing big enough on this board. So for instance, this threatens to live those stones, but after that, black will just capture. And then all these white stones will die too, and it won't matter if white can survive the stones on the other side of the board. And so another thing to pay attention to is when all of the liberties get filled, and this basically only works because all of the liberties are filled, the situation of groups often changes and becomes deadly. In games of Go, we never want to play a move that's inefficient, so we will often leave groups that can't be captured alone, knowing that later we'll have to play one move. Later, you have to remember to play that move, or just up your reading level by doing simple problems. And so what I'll do is I'll link a puzzle collection that shows basic captures called the Graded Go Problems for Beginners series. And if you can run through that puzzle book, it's about 300 problems in paper, then you'll be very adept at spotting captures at any point during the game, beginning, middle, or end. The whole book is essentially a spot the capture puzzle book, and for an experienced player, it takes about 15 minutes to complete all the problems. For a brand new player, I would work on it over the course of 2 or 3 days, and you will find that your level drastically improves because you're not missing out on random captures during the course of your games. Okay, so what did we learn today? I'll go ahead and put these back and take this off and take these off. And so we learned that at the end of the game, there can often be cuts in the shape that allow someone to break into your territory. Unresolved kos eventually need to be filled. Life and death problems need to be resolved when all of the liberties are filled. And some stones can be accidentally put into Atari at the end of the game. So the action continues all the way to the final moment. Finally, we must fill all the way to the border. Otherwise, the score can't be counted properly because there's a gap in the territory. And any random stones that are important that are left in Atari should also be resolved. So there was a snapback shape here. And then finally, black needs to do this. I'm not going to fight out this ghost situation because that would take a while. And then finally, once you notice that all of the borders are sealed, you can just trace everything with your finger and all of the neutral points are filled. You can say pass and then the game is over. And so this is going to resolve a lot of the questions that we see online about scoring and problems with scoring. Thanks for checking out those links in the description, and thanks for watching. See you next time.